Woman to Woman. Conversations with Juandolyn Stokes. This week, Juandolyn Stokes sits down with the legendary Joyce Littel. She's the brand manager of News and Talk 1380 WAOK. As a radio legend, she makes history with her signature voice for years as a host of The Quiet Storm on Odyssey ATL's B103. Her smooth, sexy voice is synonymous with romance and slow jams. She has an unbreakable bond with the Metro Atlanta community and abroad. She's the queen of love and relationships, creator and producer of the nationally acclaimed stage show, Passion and Poetry. And now, Woman to Woman. Conversations with Juandolyn Stokes and the queen of the Quiet Storm, Joyce Littel.
Hi, I'm Juandolyn Stokes, host of On Point with Juandolyn Stokes, heard weekdays 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. on 1380 WAOK. Welcome to our Woman to Woman series. I am so excited. And our guest today is one whom I've admired for years. Her grace, her beauty, her professionalism, and certainly her voice. She's a charm. She's a sweetheart. Let's welcome now Joyce Littel, who's the brand manager for 1380 WAOK. Okay. Hi, Joyce. How are you?
Hey, the check is in the mail, okay?
Definitely. I'm going to be looking for it.
Okay. But I'm doing well. I'm doing fine. I'm excited as well just to be in your company because I've admired you for a very long time as well. And, you know, we've known each other for a very long time because we were in the same industry. And just to be able to work together has been truly a blessing.
Yeah, it's a blessing to me. It really is. Yeah. Well, you know, Joyce has been in radio for years, right? Mm-hmm. Talk to us about the early days of radio and compare them to the days now with radio.
All of it is work.
Yeah,
You can't avoid it at any time if you want to have some success in it. And so I have enjoyed the process of my radio career, all the goods, and have learned from some of the bads and the downs. And not that I've had that many, but you know, you're gonna experience them both. But I think when I first started over 40 years ago, it was a lot of effort in getting what you were saying, not just on the radio, but, you know, to people so you can, you know, be in front of them and advance your career, because you got to be in front of your audience to advance your career and hope that they will receive what you have. I think the difference in then and now is just how they're receiving the message. The work hasn't changed. If you want some success in it, you're not just going to be on the air. You're going to be on the air. You're going to be in the streets. You're going to be in front of as many people as you can possibly be. And back then, 40 years ago, we either had the radio or the invite to be at a certain place. So you can see people, so you can touch folks, so you can interact with people. But today, you have a whole lot of different ways in which you can do that through social media, through digital. And so that's, I think, is the difference. It's just that we didn't have as many ways in which we could communicate. Now we do. And so it was work back then, but I think it's a little more work because we just had the radio and showed up. Now we have the radio. Now we got to put what we said on terrestrial radio, on digital radio. So that means you got to edit it and get it ready, and so it can go on social media, so it can go on the website, so it can go on YouTube. So it's just a lot. It's just a lot involved in what we experienced when I first started. Now we had to do we had to edit just like now. We had to use some with the eraser, the white eraser thing, then the blade to cut the real tape and all of that.
That's right.
Now it's a thing called a Vox Pro where you just do a little clip there, do a little clip, hit a little button, and it's gone.
Right.
You know, some things are easier, but I think the required work is about the same.
Wow. It certainly has changed and evolved over the years.
Yes, it has.
Well, I want to ask you a question, true or false?
Ooh.
Are you responsible for most of the population of people in Metro Atlanta?
Oh, well, not all of them, but I had a little to do with it from 1990 up until now.
The voice of the quiet storm on V103. Oh,
Up
my
until now,
God.
1990 up until now.
Wow. I mean, over in the night, people making love, listening to you.
I tell them to do that.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Talk to us about that. Like, I mean, what, are
See,
you
I knew
coaching
she was
people
gonna do
through
this
it?
to me. No, well, look,
Through romance, love, and sex?
It's different times. When it's Valentine's, you have to.
Okay.
When it's seasons like usually June's and the
Okay.
months that are weddings and things like that. So you keep up with those kinds of things, and so you try to encourage love. I got see what my
Yeah, your shirt says
I
love.
love love. I love to love on people. I love to love my family. I love to love my husband. I love to love my family. I love to love y'all
Yeah,
sometimes. But anyway. No, seriously. I love to love my staff. I just love love. And I think after you've had a long day on somebody's job or even running your own company, by 10 o'clock at night, you need to let it go. My favorite phrase that Derek Bozeman loved for me to say, it's time to keep it soft and warm and release and relax. And so what better way to relax than to love on yourself or love your boo or whomever you're with. So I love to encourage people to love.
So give us an example of how you encourage a couple to love and to release and relax.
Well, I say it every night. When I come on the air, the first thing I say is, "Hi, this is Joyce Littel. Welcome to the Quiet Storm. It's time to get into the night and let the day go. Come on, let's do it together. It's time to release and relax." And seriously, when I don't do that, I get messages from direct messages and saying, "You didn't say release and relax today." I'm like, okay, go ahead on and do it. But that's one way I tell people to let the day go, because if you hadn't done it by now, it's not going to get done till tomorrow.
Right.
And then I get a lot of messages on anniversaries and birthdays and things like that. And I remember one time in my Quiet Storm career, there were just gobs of love-making songs that had come out.
Okay.
And I was like, dang, every song on the Quiet Storm is about love-making? And so I went to my PD, it was Reggie Rouse, and I said, "Reggie," I said, "all these love-making songs on, let's just have a love-making night."
Yeah.
He was like, "Well, go for it, Joyce." And we did. And I just said, "Hey, on this particular night, we want, if you got a boo, just get with them, and we're going to provide the soundtrack for that." And it was a beautiful night. It was so beautiful that I was out one day shortly after I did that show, and a police officer pulled me over and said, "You're responsible for this child right here." but I just want people to connect.
Yeah.
To connect and find what they love and appreciate about themselves and whomever that they are with. I shout out my husband a lot because he does so much for me, and I do this little feature that's called Love Notes, and all a listener have to do is just call in and say who they love and appreciate, what someone did for them, and that is something that my listeners look forward to, because even tonight, when I come on tonight, I would say that for you, I would say, I want to send a love note out to Juandolyn for interviewing me for a Woman to Woman, just to say thank you, and I appreciate you thinking enough of me to want to do it, and so people will call in husband, for their significant others, for whomever they want to show some love and appreciation to, because I think that sort of kind of lightens the burden and the stress when you can just let it go and share that little piece of space with someone and make them, feel happy and feel good.
You always talk about love and relationships. What are some key things that you feel that women should know about men and what men should know about women?
I knew you were going to ask me. What are some key things? That we are different, for one thing, and that I think the biggest thing that I've learned even in my 30-year marriage and 36-year relationship is no one can read each other's mind. And whatever you are thinking that have a direct reflect on your house and your relationship, you have to find the right time to talk about it. And once you do, then things will move much smoother. So we can't, as women, think that men know. And men, you can't think as men that women know. We don't. You have to talk to us, and we have to talk to each other. And then we as women need to be ready for whatever that answer is. We got to be open to being honest. And when you're honest about your feelings or about a situation, I think it helps your relationship last, because you know that it's coming from the heart. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm not trying to disrupt what we have, but this is just what I'm feeling right now or what I'm going through right now. So as a person who have hosted relationship shows or who have been in a relationship, I've learned that as long as I'm honest, as long as I share what my feelings are, what I'm dealing with that might have something disruption or whatever within my home, then I share that. And I have to honestly say it has been a success in my house.
Wow, that's great. And wasn't it recently that you and your husband renewed your vows? How was that?
30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I say that just humor with humor, but growing up, I never thought, honestly, that I would be in a marital situation.
Okay.
I never did, because you know how you go through some of your high school years and you had a few prom dates and I ain't had none of that. So I just never thought that there would be a person out there who would accept me for who I am. Okay. And did I pray about it? Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. And did God bless me? Yes, He did. With a great man, a great friend, a great husband. Have we had challenges in our lives? Yeah, because we're human. Mm-hmm. But the ultimate goal for Jay and I were to stay married. And so we did all the necessary things as a couple to stay married. And now in our later years, it's like, hey, babe, I'm out. It's not hard.
That's good.
It's an easy union. Mm-hmm. And that's why we wanted to say I do again, is to let each of us know how much we love and appreciate the relationship that we grew, and that we're still growing. I love my husband. We have fun together.
Wow, that's great.
We can laugh together. We can cry together. We can be confused together. We do all the typical relationship stuff. Yeah. And we love the company of each other.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
So
now
we said I do again.
That's awesome. Now, Joyce is real big on family.
I am.
Yeah, talk to us about that and the importance of family to you.
Well, I came from a big one. I'm the youngest of 6. I have 4 sisters and a brother, and I had a mom and dad in the home. My father passed when I was a freshman in college, and my mother, she's the baddest woman I know.
Wow.
You know, and she instilled that in us. You know, she instilled in us how we as siblings need to care for each other and love each other and take care of each other, and we still do that. We are slightly nosy, but we stay out of each other's. Well, maybe. You know?
Okay.
But and so that just spilled over into my relationship with my husband and even his family.
Wow.
I'm very, very, very close to his family. His mom, I love my mother-in-law like she birthed me.
Yeah.
My sister-in-laws, my brother-in-law, and all the people that's a part of all of that, the nieces and the nephews and all of that. I love the family unit.
That's
and
good.
Because they are your support.
That's
you know
right.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, even in my career, you know, I lost my job.
Yeah.
And when I did that, family was right there. You know,
Awesome.
they supported me in whatever my need was from family. Yes, I have some very close, dear friends, but my family, my sisters, my brother, my mom,
Yeah.
they were right there. And we travel together. We just do a whole lot. Thanksgiving, you walking in the house, you thinking we've invited like all these extra people.
Right, okay.
It's just family. That's at the house for Thanksgiving. So family is very, very important to me, and I try to share that with people, that if you have siblings, that if you have parents, that if you still have grandparents, you bring them into the fold.
That's good.
And you embrace them and you love on them and you just let them know how much you appreciate it. Because even on my show on The Quiet Storm, when weather is inclement and it's cold and all of that, I tell people, you go and look after the seniors in your life because they looked after you.
Right,
Now it's
that's
time
right.
for you to look after.
That's right.
Look after them. So thanks to my mom and my dad and all the ancestors, all the grandparents that instilled all of that in me and in my family, and we're still like that today. So family is everything to me.
Are you the baby?
I am. Don't
Are you
act like
spoiled?
it. Yes, I am. and proud of it. I am and proud of it. I walk in the house saying Joyce is here.
Wow, wow.
But I am. And I enjoy that.
That's good. That's good. What are some of your hobbies? I mean, because there's this huge creative side of you with arts, craft, pictures, all of that. Like, what are some of your hobbies?
Well, one of my closest hobbies that I can do at any time when I have a moment to do it is color. I love to color. I have a room in my house that has all these coloring books, all these coloring pens, you name it, I got it, and I sit for hours sometimes and just color. So
Wow.
I love that. My mother loves to get pictures and put them in scrapbooks.
Okay.
And then she put these captions on them. Now, I haven't gone that far.
Okay,
But
okay.
I love pictures, and during the COVID, in my house, I did like 3 walls of collages of family and friends pictures. That was the best time during COVID for me because I printed up over 500 pictures.
Wow.
And I put up like 200 and something.
Okay.
But to figure out which ones that I wanted and which ones best work, oh my God, that was a special time for me. I love music. I love live music.
Okay.
I enjoy certain concerts and certain outings like that. I love to read. I'm not as well read as I should, but I'm getting better. Getting better at that. But I think the coloring, the pictures with family and things like that are hobbies to me.
Wow, that's good. Talk to us about passion and poetry. Now, do you do poetry? Do you write poetry?
I'm roses, red, violets, and blue, baby. That's all you're going to get from me.
But yet, for years, you have put on these wonderful events, passion and poetry.
Well, first of all, it all started. A brother by the name of Hank Stewart was getting into poetry, and he was performing at this little arts gallery. And I was invited to come out, and I saw all of these people, mainly women, but I saw all of these people enjoying what he was bringing.
Okay.
And I'm like, as a personality, you as you would know for yourself, you're constantly trying to figure out, what can I do to put myself in front of people? Because they hear me, but you want to touch them, and you want to feel them, you want to let them know that you are real. You know? And so I came back and spoke to my program director at the time. That's what they were called during those days, and it was Tony Brown. And I said, Tony, I went to this little poetry set, and I mean, it was a vibe. I don't even think they were saying vibe by then, but they was just really into it. And I said it was poetry, it was some music playing, they had a little wine going, it was at art gallery. I said, I want to try that on the Quiet Storm. And he was like, okay, Joyce, because he never told me no. I used to convince him no. But, and so I called up Hank and asked him if he would come and share his poetry on the show. And we called it Poetic Moments.
Okay.
It was every Thursday night from 10 until 12 on the Quiet Storm. And other poets, Andrea Mills and Georgia Mead, it's so many that I probably will forget a few names, and then they'll be mad at me. So that started, and it became extremely popular. Poets were coming in from all over the place wanting to be on this show. And Valentine's was coming up. And I was like, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
Because I'm always trying to create something. And I said, what can I do? So one of the poets, it was Cocktails and a Bits. I had talked to them about, what if I did this show about love? Grown folks love. Grown folks. Some grown folks love. And they were like, that sounds cool. So I went to our promotions director at the time. Her name was Shalise Smith. And I told Shalise, I said, Shalise, I got this idea to do a live poetry show. And it's going to be called Passion and Poetry. And it's going to be tasteful adult poetry. Very tasteful. Mm-hmm. I have to stand in front of it. So, and she was like, Joyce, cool. We got to put age disclaimer on there. Yeah, you might want to do that. and so we started it at the. It's a small theater over at the Woodruff Art Center.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I can't remember the name, but it started in there, and it was like a 300-seater. And we filled that place up in an instant.
Wow.
And so as it grew, every Valentine's, I would do it. I said, okay, it has busted these walls completely out. And so we had a relationship over at Center Stage, and Shalise introduced me to Josh over at Center Stage, and we took it there. And
wow.
It's been there ever since. We have sold out probably 25 to 30 shows over the years.
Wow, that is great.
Yes,
That's amazing.
Yes, and it afforded me to meet a lot of great poets like Malcolm Jamal Warner and Georgia Me and Queen Sheba. I mean, it's just an array of phenomenal poets that were that were out there doing their thing, and we brought them to this stage. It's a romantic night. It's a night for couples or whomever, individuals, but we try to, push, relationships.
Yeah.
And it's a date night, so, but anyone can come as long as you're over 21. And it has been a success for many years.
Wow, that's great. Talk to us about some of the artists that have kind of, because you've met some of everybody. I mean, just being, at V103, Quiet Storm, you've engaged with so many artists. Some of them that have stood out to you or did some things that made you laugh or you enjoyed their concert or an interview that maybe, just kind of sparked something in you.
The one of the sexiest interviews that I've ever had was with Barry White. And you remember when he used to say, "Show you right"?
Yes.
That man said, "Show you right." I was like, I was like, no, Barry White didn't say "show you right." But I mean, Juandolyn is so many. Rochelle Farrell, she and I became friends from an interview, from a performance at not Passion and Poetry, but she did this show called A Christmas Affair,
okay,
a holiday affair that I put on, and she and I just hit it right off, as good friends. Will Downing, as good friends. Who else? Avery, Sunshine, Ken Ford, Eric Roberson, Algebra. I mean, it's just so many people that I've had the pleasure of meeting. Some, the relationships stuck, and some, they were just a great time within that moment, and I understood that, as well. And some, I didn't actually realize stuck, but did.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
And they turned out to, and even today, I've had some opportunities to share some great moments with them. So, it's been a great run.
Yeah.
Meeting people. One in particular, most recent, was Usher. Usher reached out to me when he was doing his Vegas residency, the second run of his Vegas residency, and he asked if I would voice a little segment called The Quiet Storm.
Wow.
And as long as I've been in this industry and long as I've been in this business, I sort of slightly passed out when I got that call. I was like, did I just hang up from which was a great experience. I went over to So Deaf Studios and recorded that segment, and then went to Vegas and heard myself in the MGM Grand at Usher's show, and I was the countryest thing in there, screaming, "That's me!" But so those kinds of experiences,
yes.
that I will treasure, with artists that I've met.
You're also really big on mentoring younger generations about radio and how to be a professional. That's still a part of your heart. What do you see yourself doing?
It has to be. I think that's why God led me to managing WAOK. Because that wasn't a thought of mine. When Jean Ross was here, and she was an excellent manager, and she was getting to retirement, and she would talk about retiring, and I would be in her office. She had a couch in there for one reason. I would be in there, and I'd go lay on the couch, but in just getting to know the manager, because I've learned that for you to have some success, then you have to have some support,
Right.
And to have a good relationship with your manager helps you grow.
Yeah.
Because it is in our heart and in our head to help as many people as we possibly can in this business. Some ideas we come up with, most ideas you all come up with, and we support your ideas if it's something that we can make happen. And so my thing is in my 40 plus years, that happened to me. Every PD that I had, I made sure I had a great relationship with them, whether they liked what I was doing or disliked what I was doing, but I still had a relationship with them, and what they knew, they poured into me, and then they helped me with opportunities. Well, I feel like that's what I'm here for now, is to help these young staff that I have that are very talented, very, very eager, in wanting success in this business, to give them all that I know and to connect them as much as I can to that, to finding success. So if that's a part of mentoring, then I'm with it. I'm with it 1,000% in developing the talents. Like a young brother that I hired, graduated out of Savannah State. His name is Chris. I ain't gonna give his last name because he might want something. You have to pay me now, Miss Joyce. But anyway, he was a young student, just graduated out of Savannah State. And when I tell you, he's one of the many great hires because of his eagerness to learn, because of his eagerness to share and to give, and the talents that he brings to the station that I didn't have.
Yeah.
Because you got to have that.
That's right.
Things that they know about. I know we were doing the Black History Month series, and he helps with that. And he was like, well, Miss Joyce, if we were to take some clips and put them here and do this and do that, we're going to get a lot of extra, views. And I was like, do your thing, Chris.
Yeah.
And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So if I can share 40 years into him and a whole list of others that I can name, then that's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to try to build up on Joyce Littel. Those days, there was a great run, and I'll still do enough, but I feel like my purpose right now is to help them who coming in these doors of WAOK find the same amount of success that you and I, who've been in this business for 40 years, have had.
Yeah.
Because that's what they went to school for.
That's right.
And that's what they're coming in this business for. And it'll be a shame if we didn't share that with them.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I accept the phone calls, I get the meetings, I encourage them to come up with ideas and things that they want to do that we can help develop.
And you do a great job of it. I mean, just depositing into younger generations about radio. I mean, you're just amazing with it.
It's a lot that I still need to learn myself, especially in the management area, because I am a creative. Is that what they say now? Creative?
Yeah. Yes, you're creative.
I'm learning. I'm creative. But there's a lot on the management end that I'm still learning. And I enjoy the process in doing the things that I have to do and need to do and want to do to continue to build on the heritage and the legacy of WAOK, because it is a heritage station, but for it to have lasted over 60-something years, then it also had to be receptive to change.
Yeah.
And so you got to bring in that young vibrant mind and to help keep the station moving forward so it can stay around and to level the playing field some. When we started in AM was a transistor that sat on your parents' kitchen table and they were trying to find the signal. But that's totally different now. You can log on to WAOK.com. You can download the Odyssey app.
That's right.
You can tell your smart speaker to play 1380 WAOK, and it sounds like you pumping out 100,000 watts.
Yeah.
So in having that accessible to us now and to me now, I need that young brain to help me, push us forward.
That's good. Now, you've had a lot of mentors in your life, but tell us how Siman really was instrumental in your career.
Oh, first of all, he was my brother from another mother.
Okay.
When I started my career back in Athens, Georgia, where I'm from, at 1470 WXAG, he was a student at UGA, and he came to work at XAG, and we just hit it off like day two. The day one, I had to figure, who is this guy with these little white boots on coming up in here? I'm like, who is it? I thought I was country. But, and then shortly after he started working there, we just became really good friends. And it was he and his brother from his family, and he was like, I never had a sister, and will you be my sister? And I said, of course, so we looked at each other as brothers and sisters first.
Okay.
And then we were in the business together. He was pretty much responsible for getting me out of Athens and back here in Atlanta. He just put me on the air one day. He was on WIGO, and his boss at the time called and said, "Who is that?" So I'm like, "I'm so sorry, you're about to lose your job because of me." And she actually offered me a job.
Wow.
That very Saturday. And so that's how I got to Atlanta. It was through him. He was like my radio partner.
Yeah,
He was a person that I knew I could express anything to about the industry, a good, bad, and ugly, all of it.
Yeah.
And I knew that it stayed between he and I.
Wow.
Because I think you need someone like that.
You do.
In any business.
Yes.
But in this business, he was that to me, and we supported each other's efforts to gain as much success as we possibly could. But we also respected the fact that we were competitors, so we knew our limits there. But he was my brother.
Wow.
He was my brother. He was my colleague. He was my it in this industry, and I should say that we lost him to pancreatic cancer, and that's something that still is hard for me. Yeah. Because I'm still in the business, and when I needed that extra ear or that extra advice, he would be my call. Yeah. And not to have that, it can be a little tough sometimes. Yeah. And later on this month, his son is marrying, and we're all going to be there. And I know it's just going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be a joyful day, but it's also going to be a sad day. Right. Yeah, absolutely. He certainly contributed a lot, to your life, and he did, and to the community as a whole, and to the industry as a whole. I mean, he was. I just didn't see how he kept up. But that's how radio was back then, and you just kept busy making it happen. You were all over the place. Yeah, you were all over the place. Absolutely, because you did not want to disappoint anyone. That's right. That's right. And the community really looked to us. Yeah, and they needed us, and we didn't want to disappoint them, so we would try to hit as much as we possibly can. But I think he split himself up though.
He must have. He must have.
Had to, 'cause I was like, dude, when you gonna sit down?
You know, when we think about Women's History Month, we think about you because you've done so much. Your legacy shall be long-lived. And as people think about you, would you say that they would remember that you love?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I don't feel what people see.
Okay.
I don't. What you and others say about me, I just don't feel it because I just feel like I'm just being blessed, and I'm just doing what God has placed me in this space to do, is to love people, and I hope that they love me, is to help people as they have helped me. And that's just how I see it. I mean, I've never tried to be nobody's celebrity or star or whatever. I've never. That just wasn't my pursuit.
Not you. Yeah.
I was just luckily blessed to be put in a space that I grew to love. Because I was a business major coming up in this camp, and then I stumbled into communications because I was this shy girl all of my growing up, and who would have thought, I'll be one of those people that stood in front of folks and did what we do. But I think that's what I just want folks to just know, that I tried to do the best I could with what I had.
Wow.
And will continue to be that way and do that until God calls me home.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Joyce Littel, for being a part of our Woman to Woman series. Joyce Littel, she loves love. She loves giving back. She's always doing things for her school, Morris Brown College. She's always giving back there and always in the community. You can hear her weeknights on V103, The Quiet Storm, that signature voice that the world loves. And certainly we love her here at 1380 WAOK as our boss, our brand manager. Thank you so very much, Joyce Littel.
Thank you, Juandolyn, for pulling those things out of me that
But listen, thanks for being a part of our Woman to Woman series right here on 1380 WAOK. I'm Juandolyn Stokes, your friend and sister girl. Next time.